Recording in progress.
Yes, squad. Guten Morgen to all my German friends, and good morning to everybody else. So today's training is going to be part five, of the keys to leadership. So if you haven't been back so far, which brings me on to my first point before I go off on a tangent, if you haven't so far gone through the last four, which were part one, key to leading your best life, was mastering your values. Part two was mastering relationships. The most important relationship you will ever have is the relationship you have with yourself, and that is nothing to do with masturbating. The third part was mastering meaning, which is the meaning that you choose to give to each and every situation. And the fourth part was mastering productivity, which is probably the ultimate part to progressing in life, because if you're not productive and you haven't got time management, you're always going to struggle. Today, part five is of leading your best life is mastering your emotions. Something I've been progressively working on for the last 42 and a half years, or as long as I had an emotion. So it's going to be a really impactful training. Guys, if you can let me know in the comments, and also let me know when I post the replay in the group, when you've watched it, and also post in Facebook if you watch the replay on Facebook when I posted it there. So I'm potentially looking at a different time for the trainings, and I'm potentially looking at a different structure, but I want some feedback from you guys first. So first of all, 8 people out of 110 on a live at 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning isn't a particularly great strike rate. So either one, my trainings are shit and nobody wants to watch them, which I hope isn't the truth. If it is, I'll handle it and adapt. Number two, it's a really bad time for people to be watching the trainings, and we need to look at a different day and different time when we can get at least 30-40 people on these calls. The energy is going to be so much better, and then I can also open up to a Q&A at the end of them. Secondly, I'm considering dropping down to one training per week. Again, not because I'm lazy, I'm quite happy to do two, but if I'm looking at the numbers of live versus watched on YouTube, there's less than 10 people that have completed all of the recent trainings, let alone the backlog. So my worry with that is that I'm constantly overloading you guys with trainings and information that isn't getting watched. And this is also leading to what I've talked about many times. Most of you don't have an information problem, you have an implementation problem. In fact, most of you have too much information, which means you procrastinate and don't get stuff done. Secondly, too much knowledge can be dangerous. So again, knowing and not doing is exactly the same as not knowing. So I want the trainings to be watched by each person. I'm going to start creating tasks as well, which will come through. I'm talking to the CRM guys later, how we can implement a form system so that on each and every training, not only will the training be delivered, but there will be a small 5 to 10 minute task in a format to complete at the end of the training. So I'll know you've watched it, whether you found it helpful or not, and also that you did the task and the work as part of the training, which is ultimately what is going to help you move forward. So I'm going to send a form out to get some feedback on that from you guys. But yeah, do let me know. If you're live now, you can let me know. Well, if you're live now, probably not much point, is there? Because it's a good time for you. But do let me know what would be the best day and time for you for the training to be. And I will do it as best as possible. Part of me is thinking that I can actually do the training on a Monday at somewhere between 6 and 7 a.m. when I think hopefully not many people would have a reason for not being on it at that time. One time I'm not willing to do it before people ask is ask it after 5 o'clock at night, purely because my energy will be shit, and I'll ultimately have things on as well, like school runs. So let me know and we'll get some feedback on that. And as I said, the format with the tasks and the actual work to do in relation to each training will be implemented really quickly. Secondly, before I forget as well, anyone who isn't interested, Nat mentioned earlier, Nat's got a couple of spaces for PT clients now, dependent on times and dates, which is at a private gym at CrossFit Workshop. So if anyone is interested in that, just drop me a message and I'll put you in touch with Nat. So, emotional responses. If we can nail our emotions, we can pretty much nail everything, and no one will ever nail them, but each time we try, we can improve from it. And one of my favorite mindset phrases of all times before I get into the training is, and it's so relevant to me right now, when you can't control the situation or other people, but you can control how you respond to it, that's where your fucking power is at. So you can't control what's going on around you. I can't control being injured at the moment. But what I can control is how I respond to it, how I choose to respond to it. And it's the same with other people, whether this might be in your relationships, in your workplaces, in any area of life. You know, we've done the training on mastering relationships, so this leads into that. But we can't control other people. We can't control the weather. We can't control illness. We can't control the government. We can't control injury. But what we can control is how we respond to it. And that's a choice. That's a decision. That doesn't mean we're going to get it right every time. Of course we're not. We all overreact. You guys will remember the now infamous training when I used to do lives in the car, when I was talking about how to control anger and how being angry is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only person it will hurt is you. And then I went into a rant about the person in the front not fucking pulling off at a green light. So that was the most real analogy of how someone was actually doing a talk about controlling anger and then got angry. So, you know, we live and we learn. We have to learn from these situations. But, you know, write that down and remember it, because that is one to take away for life. When you can't control the situation or other people, but you can control how you respond to it, that is where your power is at. Now, I want you to listen up really carefully on this. And if you are just logging in now as well, just go back and make sure you watch that first part, because I can see a few of you are joining late. So, when you hear this, when we're talking about emotional responses, right, it's very important that we understand the difference between mastering, not suppressing emotions. It's two very, very, very different things. And every single human, every single day, is going to experience a huge range of emotions. Like literally, people that are live now, name me 3 emotions that you've already experienced today. And if you can't, you're probably not in touch with where you are, what's going on, or how you're feeling, because almost every single person will do. I mean, if you went through, you know, or maybe just if you can't do that, just list emotions: anger, frustration, resentment, love, happiness. You could literally go on and on. Sad, gratitude. You could go on and on and on and on and on. There are so many in fact, I'm going to write a list out. There are so many emotions that we all experience. See how many you can list now. Try and put 4 or 5 in each. First ones that come to your mind. Type in the first 4 or 5 emotions that come to your mind, and it'll help me go back to them. So the ones that we choose to engage in are ultimately what will control our experience of life. So if you constantly choose to engage in low self-worth, beating yourself up, moaning, blaming, complaining, getting angry, stressing, being anxious, worrying, that is ultimately going to determine your experience of life versus what Dave's just put: happy, determined, optimistic, organised and buzzing. That is going to determine not just your experience of life, but your experience of each and every day. And it can be so easy to get an emotion to get triggered, like exactly as I did there. Like when I talked about Luke's joking about the pothole as well, I used to drive over the same pothole every day, literally when I was doing the live, and have the same reaction every single day for about 20 days until I remembered where the pothole was. So, you know, we fall in and out of them, but learning to master them, not suppress them, is key. People think you can master your emotions by not showing fear, by not backing down, okay? By not showing stress, by not showing worry. And it's very, very different, and I'm going to come on to why, and why one will fuck you up and one won't. So think about these as examples versus what we've said. If you are connected each and every morning, as soon as you get up, and this is something I still do every single day, it's that ingrained in me. It's as ingrained as tying my shoelaces, and it's something I said to Jess this morning. You know, once she's now, Jess, by the way, give us some fucking love, overcame the fear this morning. I'm like, why the fuck is it that you can come to Rother Valley with me every Wednesday at 6:30, but you can't do it on your own? You can't even use the fear of like being worried what people say or anything like that, because there's nobody fucking here. So this morning she got up and did it. And as she said, first three emotions: fear, anxiety, tired, followed by proud, pride, confident, buzzing, happy. You know, it's the same situation. One outcome and engagement leads to one leads to the other. So if you are connected every morning, and I do get out of bed every single day and I go, thank you, left foot, right foot. I've literally done this for 11, 12, 13 years, and I sit there for 2 minutes and I go, right, what are you grateful for, Lee? Look at your house, look at your car, look at your business, look at your son, look at your health, your freedom to eat, freedom to train, freedom to walk. And I just go on and on and on and on, and I literally go through as many as I physically can. And now the second one that I've moved into, because I battled the emotion of chasing money, chasing success, chasing significance, chasing validation, the one that I connect and engage into every single morning, and if I don't, my day is fucked, is I say, I'm already enough, I already have more than enough, I already have more than most, and I'm already wealthy. Anything else that happens on top of that today is just a Brucey bonus. I look at a picture of Logan, which is on my phone, and I say, I've already won. I've already won today. I'm already a winner. I've got a healthy little boy who loves me. Okay? So which emotion we engage into, and trust me, the amount of people that are getting up, picking their phone up, going on Instagram, going on Facebook, getting triggered by someone, getting pissed off by someone, reading an email, Lindsay's laughing because she's done it, reading a text message, and straight away, so you go, oh, for fuck's sake. Hands up if you've done that about 9 million times, because I have. Woken up, straight into WhatsApp, open a message, oh, for fuck's sake. Or an email from your boss, or anything in between. I think Lindsay said that, didn't you? No, someone said something about work, not you. But that then just sets your tone for the entire day. Angry, reactive, stressed, tired, pissed off. Sometimes before you've even got out of bed and stretched and had a water or coffee or anything at all. So, you know, we have to get a handle on this, because your experience of every single day, many people wake up and start the day with anger, resentment, frustration. I'm not enough, I don't have enough, nothing ever works out for me, everyone in the world is bad, my boss is a cunt, shouldn't have said that, I hate my job, good job I don't have a boss, because this goes on YouTube, and yada yada yada, and so on and so on and so on. And before you know it, it's like white heat of stress. It's like fucking 7:15. Or we get up and we do that other thing that I've just said, and all of a sudden, right, now I'm in a good place to start the day. And when we come on to mastering emotions today, and again go back and watch the previous training on mastering meaning, one, we're in a better place to deal with the situation. Two, the angry email from your boss is the angry email from the boss. It's there, it's written, it's not about you, it's never been about you. And the only way that email can hurt you is the meaning that you decide to give to it. Maybe your boss's wife's poorly. Maybe he's having a really bad day. Maybe his business is about to go under. Maybe he hasn't even been to bed and he didn't master his emotions. So he snapped to some silly little thing that you didn't do within the business and decided to take it out on you. So which road we take will ultimately create your experience of the day and of your life. So, some people are literally connected to anxiety, stress, depression, and worry the second they get out of bed because they don't get a handle on their emotions. So we know we need to work on the emotions of gratitude, love, wealth, feeling that we're enough, and understanding that we already are. And that practicing gratitude as soon as we get out of bed is the number one key for, or prerequisite. As I said, Stephen, I got Stephen to message that to me ages ago. Gratitude is a prerequisite for a happy life. The end. Case closed. If you're not, you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. It's literally impossible. I even do this with people when I do grief management. Like literally when someone's close to them has just died, and I'll work on what are your magic moments with them? What times did you spend with them that you're grateful for? And again, it can get them out of it very, very quickly rather than going into the cycle of grief, which is anxiety, stress, worry, depression. So it really is the thing that will change everything. And you guys know as well, you did it on a Mindset Mastery. Some people struggle because they're reactive to it, because they're actually addicted to being stressed. They're addicted to being anxious. They're addicted to being depressed because it's the only emotion they know because they've not mastered them. And again, some of you will will remember doing this. The amount of people that I've said, write me down 20 things that you're grateful for right now. Do you know what some people reply? Well, I can't fucking think of anything. Nothing. I've had multiple people over the years who have said, nothing. Like, okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. And then they start to come out of it. But the point at the beginning is they're that addicted to the story they keep telling themselves about why it's different for them, whose fault it is, and everything else in between, that the second they actually have to let go of that story and say, actually, do you know what? Life's not that bad. That means they can't tell that story anymore. And that's when we talk about ownership. That's when we talk about responsibility. But the cost of ownership, the cost of awareness that actually I'm just being a whiny little bitch and my life actually isn't that bad. The cost of that awareness is responsibility and ownership. And then I have to adapt my behavior in line with my new insights. And the reality is, I'd rather just keep fucking moaning about my mum and my dad and my brother and my sister and my ex and my job and the weather and my house and the workmen outside and everything else in between. Because as soon as I drop that bullshit story, I have to start taking action towards my life. So we have to get clear on this. And how do we motion them, right? So I think emotions they're labeled emotional control, right? Daniel Gorman's book's not called Emotional Control, it's called Emotional Intelligence. Emotional control. Even Ant Middleton says it. Control your emotions. I don't think you can. And this is what this training's led me to believe. Controlling and mastering are two very different things. Do you need to control your relationship or do you need to master your relationship with yourself? Because if you try and control things, if you try and control emotions, relationships, people, and anything in between, control, I believe, is just another word for suppression. I'm not dealing with it, I'm controlling it. I'm not allowing it, I'm suppressing it. And you can't. And even a person who can control their emotions, suppress their emotions, not react, eventually we'll suppress and suppress and suppress and suppress and press, keep putting it under the carpet, keep putting it under the carpet until it explodes. Because you're only going to be able to suppress it for so long. Whereas if you can just allow it and flow through the river with the river of life, rather than think about it on that analogy. Peter uses that all the time. Is it easier to swim with the flow, or is it easier to keep trying to swim upstream? Suppressing your emotions is swimming upstream. Allowing your emotions, sitting with them and being able to control them is going with the flow, which is a lot easier. I experienced this for years working in security. Like when someone's saying, oh, I'm going to fucking come and burn your house down, I'm going to shag your mum, and I'm going to fucking beat your kids. All, you know, it's typical stuff that drunk men say on doors. You can stand there and be like, don't say it, until eventually you're getting angry, then you'll explode. You can't do that in that situation. Whereas if you're just like, all right, cool, yeah. What else have you got for me? Why is it that you feel that way? Why is it you feel that? Why are you so angry at me, mate? What is the cause of this? Like, can we just, what? So you're allowing the emotion to go through you without reacting to it and then asking questions. Suppression is dangerous because any form of suppression, any form of conversation you're holding in, any form of emotion that you're holding in will manifest itself and build up daily. This is when some of you guys do this, when you're struggling with something and then I say, you know, James, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. James, are you okay? And then it explodes after like 7, 10, 14 days of suppression. Because it will just manifest inside. And then usually when we allow something like freaking hell, stick your hand up if you've done this in a relationship. And if you haven't, I think you're a liar, or you're just like, you're a monk or something. So something triggers you in your relationship, right? Maybe it might be your relationship with your partner, your relationship with your boss. They start doing something that's pissing you off a little bit. It's triggering you. You know, they've said this thing 3 times. Oh, don't react, don't say anything. It's just going to cause an argument. And then you suppress it, and then you suppress it, and then you suppress it until they do it for the 10th time. And then you just explode, usually at the wrong time, in the wrong place, inappropriately, and it leads to a massive argument. You're all laughing because you've all done this. So that's because we suppressed it and didn't just deal with it and allow it straight away, and asking ourselves internal questions. Why is this making me feel that way? Like what is it within this person or this situation that's making me feel that way? How can I allow it to flow through me and then learn to master it, not control it? And what I will tell you at the end of this training, if you can master it, will probably change your life forever. So when we get triggered, when we have this huge overreaction, and it still happens to me on a daily basis, someone will email something, oh, for fuck's sake, fuck off. Like when someone's moaned about the same thing for the 10th time without doing anything about it. What do I sometimes have the habit of doing if I sit with that and look internally? Sarah will know, she has PT sessions with me. Maybe I have the habit of sometimes moaning about certain things in certain situations in my life and telling her every week and then not doing anything about it. That's when you get triggered. When something happens in someone else that triggers the shit out of you, it's almost certainly because it's something within you that you're also not handling, and that's why it triggers you. If not, it wouldn't. But it is a sign you're suppressing it. So even the fact if you have started talking about it, that's better. But rather than trying to control people, situations, emotions, and meaning, what I want you to understand is that when you can learn to start to process them, master them, understand them, and sit with them, then everything will become a lot easier, and mastering them. I'll drop it back in later actually, because it's a great podcast that me and Kev Bland did, and he was talking about this in the army, and mastering emotions and mastering situations. And you know, his view on it was very much, you know, the story he used to describe it was being in a compound in Afghanistan, and all of a sudden there's a couple of rounds fired off somewhere by a couple of ragheads, all of a sudden everyone's like losing their shit. Contact, code red, code red. Everyone's going crazy, losing their shit. All the emotions have gone through the roof. Fear, anxiety, stress, worry. When you actually just sat with it for 60 seconds and asked questions and analysed the fact, what's actually just happened? Well, you know, we're a 30 strong squadron in a protected compound with air support, and a couple of rounds have just been fired off by a couple of ragheads probably 2 miles away, and they didn't contact anywhere near here. Right, drone up, heat source, there they are, air support, threat neutralised. Very, very calmly. But very few people were able to do that because they didn't just sit with the emotion and analyse, okay, what's actually happening? Why is it happening? Why do I feel this way? And what's the best way for me to deal with it? So how do we do this? Because it comes down to understanding, and again, that's a great story, and I reckon you guys can literally take this away. In fact, I want you to, when I post the replay, I want to see who's watched it and who's willing to do this and who's going to try it, because I guarantee this can happen to you today. I guarantee this will happen to you today, and you can implement it straight away. So, as I said, the purpose of an emotion is to be able to sit with it, feel it, experience it, process it, and then not act on it. So it's the ability, going back to the door situation, it's the ability to feel angry, feel hurt, feel attacked. You know, when someone's right up in your face telling you that they're going to fucking find out where you live and burn your house down and smash your face in just because you won't let them in because they've had 17 pints of Stella, you know, that's an aggressive situation, and you're going to feel attacked, you're going to feel stressed, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel worried. But it's the ability to experience that, not shout back, not respond, understand that no response is a response, let the anger flow through the body, not punch someone, not react, not get involved, and guess what? Less than 60 seconds later, the person's got bored and they've walked away. So mastering your emotions is not, I'm not going to let this make me angry, because it will do, and you'll suppress it and then you'll explode. It's, how do I allow this to make me angry, but not shout, not react, and not punch someone, and act accordingly with how I should do. So if you really start to feel any emotion fully and just sit with it, I guarantee you, if you can nail this and just breathe, close your eyes if you need to, distract your mind, and just allow it to go through you without any reaction, it will generally last, like a 15-year-old boy, less than 60 seconds. And yes, that's a really inappropriate joke. I hope none of you have got me on loudspeaker at work. But it really will. Practice it. Practice it, practice it, practice it. Oh my God, when next time you feel angry, okay, just sit. Okay, what's actually happened? Why do I feel like this? What's the best way for me to handle it? Is it real? That was the word that Kev used. This threat, is it real? Kev used to have, he won't mind me discussing this. Kev used to have quite bad PTSD after coming back from Afghanistan. So his daughter's called Ella, and he used to have this recurring nightmare, right? This is an extreme example. He used to have this recurring nightmare that he'd wake up in the middle of the night, he'd go to the toilet, and the Ella was hanging in the toilet. She was dead. She was hanging. He had no idea why. There was no background to the story, but he used to wake up, like go to check the toilet, be stressed, be out, like all those emotions. And he discussed it with me. And he went, and then when I learned to master these emotions, I would just I'd get out of bed, I'd wake up from the nightmare, I'd just breathe, just sit there, go to the toilet. Is this real? No. And go back to bed. And in 60 seconds, it can literally move through you and be completely dissipated if you can just get through that first bit of not reacting. So the next time you receive some news, the next time somebody reacts or does something out of alignment with your pictures of the world and how you believe it should be, or makes you feel angry, or makes you feel stressed, or makes you feel worried, or big one, makes you feel like you're not good enough, just allow it. Because the only time that emotion has power is if you react to it or resist it. So, moving on from that, you might be thinking, okay, Lee, that's really cool. But how can I feel it? How can I allow it to exist? How can I allow it to go through me? And how can I just let it go? That genuinely comes from breathing. And this isn't kind of woo-woo stuff. It's stepping away and just slowing your breathing down. Slow as you physically can, right? Okay, that's one breath. Let me just sit with this. How am I feeling? Why am I about to overreact? Why did this make me so angry? Why did I get triggered? And then a second breath. And then a third breath. And you're probably only going to be on, remember I said 60 seconds? You're probably only going to be on 12 seconds by then. And it'll already have gone from a 10 to a 7. And then to a 5. And then to a 6. And then actually, this whole thing wasn't so bad at all. I just allowed my reaction to give meaning and power to it. Because when you resist your emotions, right? Or you resist your reaction or your response, that's what creates the power that emotions have over you. Because they're controlling you, you're not controlling them. Or sorry, they're controlling you, you're not mastering them. And this is when they then become part of your identity and they become part of who you are. So another great example that I wrote down, do you guys think I was afraid when I was stood at the top of the bridge in Eskdale? James is shaking his head. Of course I was. Lindsay's nodding, yeah. James is not believing it. Absolutely shitting myself. Not only were there all you guys at the bottom, there were all the other people that had stopped on the bridge that I didn't even know. Going through my head was, have I safety checked this properly enough? What if there's something down there that I've not realised? What if it's colder than I thought it was and I have a fucking anaphylactic fit or whatever they're called? You know, all these things are going through. What if I slip off? This would be a classic Lee, wouldn't it? What if I slip off the bridge when I jump? Hey ho, not to worry though. At least we've got a professional video camera here, so whatever I do will be caught on camera and I'll never be able to get away from it. You know, they're going round and round and round, same as you guys did, apart from James, who just launched himself off the bridge like he had wings. But of course I did. But I didn't resist them. Because if I'd started going, can't do it, what if I fuck up, what? I had to sit with them. And this is what mastering your emotions is. So I just stood there and I'm like, right, remember the words, what you're going to say. Remember how many times you've done this before. Remember you've checked it. This is just another run of the rehearsal that's already been done before. And then even if you go back and watch the video, I was actually really quiet for 30 seconds before I started speaking. That wasn't because I'd forgotten my words. That was because I was just letting those emotions go through my body. Yeah, Luke said, when I got there, it's higher than I thought. I can't back out now. There's loads of people watching, just jump. That's one way of dealing with it. But it's not until you actually stand up there, you look down and you're like, oh. But you can like try and suppress them, or you can just do that, just jump. Or you can just go, right, what's actually real here? What am I actually experiencing? And do this with every situation. And it will just pass. And then it just passed. And I just jumped. So the other thing with emotions, and this does take practice, okay? So don't expect to just watch this and all of a sudden go away and be a master of your emotions in your relationship and your career and everything else. It takes a lot of practice until it becomes second nature, just like practicing confidence, practicing getting okay with rejection and realizing that, you're never going to go anywhere if you can't handle rejection. You'll also never go anywhere if you can't handle your emotions. That doesn't mean that you're not going to watch one training and all of a sudden be an emotional master. So another great thing, which is now, this is my head, we've gone full circle, why I got you to write the things down at the beginning, why I talked about how many emotions there are. Stop labeling them. Just like I am not good enough, I am depressed, I am anxious, I am not clever enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not loved, I have PTSD, I have bipolar, I have ADHD, I am, because then it becomes ingrained, it becomes a thing, you give it power, and it eventually becomes part of your identity once you've said it enough times. So just feel it, don't label it. Not, I'm feeling anxious, I'm just feeling. Not, I'm feeling stressed, I'm just feeling. Not, I'm feeling depressed, angry, stressed, worried, I'm just feeling. These are just feelings. They don't need a label, because if I keep labeling them, they become things, they become identity. I'm so-and-so, I suffer with X. I'm so-and-so, I have X. I'm so-and-so, I have the habit of responding by X. Sometimes other people give us these labels as well from an early age, so we need to be careful with it. But don't label it, just feel it. Again, write that down. Don't label it, just feel it. Don't label it, just feel it. It's not stress, it's not anxiety, it's not worry, it's not fear. It's just how I'm feeling at this moment in time as a result of some external stimulus. So you can almost have fun with it as well. Like, just be curious. Like, observe it. Again, I'm just going to use Justin as an example. So this morning, that will have gone, like, again, if you use this morning, Jess, and use it in future mornings. So, okay, I'm really worried about going on my own. I'm really nervous. It's making me feel stressed. It's making me feel afraid. No, this is just how I'm feeling now in result of what I'm about to do. So what really is it? What really could happen? What is it? What is it that I'm actually really worried about? That's in 10 seconds, you can go from a 10 emotion to a 5. Oh, actually, it's not as bad as I thought. Oh, actually, now I'm in the river. Oh, actually, now I'm out of the river. Oh, actually, I'm on the side. Fucking hell, that was amazing. That's 30 seconds. That's mastering it, not fighting it. So the next time you feel angry, anxious, stressed, worried, just process this task and practice it. Because I almost guarantee you, in 60 seconds, at worst, it will have gone from a 10 to a 5. When you get really good at it, it will just go all together and you'll just be like a ghost poo, in and out, gone, disappeared. No trace. It's a lovely example, isn't it? But when you get good at it, that's exactly what will happen. When you start to, I'm not sure which is worse out of these. The other option is you suppress it, you ignore it, or you react to it. None of those three are going to lead to a positive outcome. And it's very often that, I'm very open about when I've cried and when I'm emotional and stuff. And it took me a long time to get to grips with that. You're a fucking strong alpha male. Think of my upbringing with my granddad, with the army upbringing. Don't show fear. You don't show weakness. Men don't cry. Certainly more so men, guys, watching, I think, than ladies. If you think about back in the early days in the army, that's how much you were conditioned to not show emotions. You write a fucking death letter to your family that opens with, if you are reading this, I'm already dead. And then you taught the emotions of being able to put a bullet into another man's brain without showing any fear, weakness, or even like, can't think of the word, guilt afterwards. That's been ingrained through generations and generations and generations. But, suppressing it, ignoring it, or putting on a brave face. No, don't put on a brave face. Just be okay with, okay, actually, this is a sad face. I'm not going to make this sad face not sad, because that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm going to sit with this sadness, and I'm going to allow it to flow through me, and I'm going to ask the right questions, and then I'm going to move forward. Because any form of suppression or ignoring it or putting on a brave face or running away from it because you're stubborn, because you're strong, because you show no weakness, because you're tough. What a load of bollocks, by the way. That's moving into the kind of toxic masculinity, so to speak. It will come back worse. You'll either just suppress and suppress and suppress until you explode. You'll suppress and suppress and suppress until you're depressed. Or it will just manifest inside you until it becomes your identity, until it becomes who you are. We all know these characters in life, right? That never show emotions. God, he's so tough, he never reacts. Nothing ever bothers him. Trust me, it does. They'll just deal with it differently. So don't let emotions manifest. Don't let them become part of your identity. Don't resist them, because every time you resist it, every time you suppress it, every time you try and change it rather than allowing it, you're actually giving strength to the emotion. You're giving strength to anxiety. You're giving strength to worry, anger. Okay? When you don't suppress it, you just allow it to come and go. That's when you're mastering the emotions rather than letting them master you. You're taking the power away from it. You just say, what is this? What is this really? And if you can start to do this, trust me, and practice it, you will be ahead of 90% of people in the world. Show it, feel it, express it, sit with it, allow it to go through with you, and then handle it when you're in a calm situation. That is the key to mastering emotions and not allowing emotions to master you. Because if you do and give them power, that's when they'll become part of your identity. Guys, have an amazing day. I love you all, and I'll see you on Monday.